Hello and welcome back. In the previous video we looked at the basic ways to control the Picobot and just generally understand how it moves around with regard to the state and the surroundings. In this video we are going to walk through how to cover this first map. And we won't cover more sophisticated things like these maps, but they do exist. So in this video, as I said, we're going to color this entire map gray, and we're going to do that by setting the rules for Picobot. And so, in order to color the map, we'll need to think of a specific strategy we want our Picobot to implement. What I had in mind was looping down, going all the way down, moving one unit over, going all the way up, moving one unit over, going all the way down, moving one unit over, etc. until we've covered the entire map. There is one obstacle that prevents us from doing that immediately, and that's, as you can see, the Picobot, we reset it and it goes to a random spawn point each time. It's not a deterministic location, and so we can't assume we know where that spawn point is. So my strategy is actually two-part. The first part is moving, no matter where we start, moving that position so the Picobot starts in this top left corner. Then once we're in the top left corner, we can begin to work on our sweeping strategy of going all the way down, going one over, going all the way up, one over. So the first step is to get our Picobot from its start point to that corner. The way I'll do this is by making a rule. Since I know the Picobot starts in state 0, I don't really know ahead of time what exactly I want my rule to be. So for now, let's just say any position it ever sees, just don't care, it's for all of the N, E, W, and S. And we can modify that later if I decide I need to be more specific. But always go state 0 no matter what you see. Always go to the west and remain in state 0. So let's enter these rules and let's go. Okay. What would I want to do from there? Now that I think about it, rather than always going to the west, I really should only go to the west if the west has an available spot in the W column. So if there's not a wall to our west, then we'll continue to move west. And that got us all the way to the wall. Now once we're at the wall, we're still in state 0, and we can see from our surroundings that our position is, we don't really care, there is a wall to the west and we don't really care. Once we've reached the western wall, we want to make sure we head north so we can get to the top of the corner. Now let's enter these rules and let's hit go. Let's reset. Now let's hit go. Okay, fantastic. With these two rules, we were able to get from the start point to the top left corner. So let's add a comment saying that comments are good for mentally organizing your code so you can think clearly about it, what it does and what you expect it to do, which helps with debugging your code. But so now our Picobot is able to get to the top left corner. We want to make it move down in that stride sort of manner. And the way we'll do that is by introducing a new state. So far, everything we've done has been in state 0. But now, once we've reached the top left wall, meaning there's something to our north, we don't care about east, there's something to our west, and we don't care about south, we don't want to move, which is why I put an X. And now we want to transition to state 1. State 1 will be in charge of moving downwards. Okay, so let's put a comment saying that. Alright, fantastic. So if we're in state 1, like I said, we wanted to move downwards. So let's try the naive approach first. We know that we don't really care what's to our north. We don't really care what's to our east. To our west, in this case, there happens to be a W, a wall. So let's put that in there and see where that goes. And then we'll only move south if there is a blank spot to the south, if there's somewhere to move south. So if this is the scenario, then we want to move 1 unit south, and we want to remain in state 1. Let's enter those rules. We've gotten some kind of error. We have a repeat rule. State 0. It's north. Oh, interesting. So we got an error saying that these two lines conflict. And the way they conflict is that this line right here says anything as long as there's a wall to your left. And then this line right here says anything as long as there's a wall to your north and a wall to your left. If you notice, when the surroundings put us in this top left corner, both this description is true and also this description is true. There's that ambiguity. So let's instead change this so that it only fires if there's nothing to our north, thus eliminating the conflict. Let's try that again. Okay, now it is read in our rules. Let's go. Alright, so we were able to get this line going. That sent us all the way from the top to the bottom. Let's just continue. Here's state 1. We don't really care what's to our north, what's to our east. There happens to be something to our west, and now there is definitely something to our south. In that scenario, we won't move, so that'll be next. And we'll transition to state 2. Alright, state 2. In fact, let's move 1 unit east when we transition. Now we're here for when we begin state 2. So state 2's it's too verbose of a message. Okay. If we're in state 2, we want to just keep moving upwards. And the way we've done that so far is if there's nothing to our up, and we don't really care about any of the other surroundings. So as long as there's nothing to our up, we want to move north and remain in state 2. Let's enter the rules and see how that goes. Fantastic. Let's keep moving forward. If we're in state 2 and there is something to our north and we don't care about everything else, then what do? Well, we'll want to move east and we'll go to some new state. I don't really know what the new state is. Let's say it's state 3. And maybe it's not state 3. Maybe we'll change it to something else. We'll see how that goes. So we'll enter these rules and there we'll go. Okay, so now we're in state 3. And what we want to do is we want to just keep moving downward. Keep moving downward until we hit this wall. Then we want to move 1 unit to the right. And so we could program our state 3 to do that. However, we can think about it, and here in this comment, state 1's mission is to move downwards. Oh no. I'll reset that. Now I'll go. Alright, sorry about that technical difficulty. Like I was saying, what we want to do now is we want to move downwards and then go 1 unit to the right. And we could program state 3 to do that. However, state 1's mission already, the reason why we have state 1, it exists for the sole purpose of moving downward, hitting the wall, and moving 1 unit to the right. So instead of state 3, let's just go to state 1 and see how that goes. So I'll reset and now I'll go. And we see that it didn't move. And that surprises us because we saw, with our own eyes earlier, state 1 is able to move the Picobot down, move it to the right so that state 2 can move it upwards. And the reason why it failed was because we were too specific when we put rules for state 1. We happened to have the western wall in our surroundings, so we thought it was relevant. But in fact, it doesn't matter what's to our left when we're in state 1. And I'll rephrase that. State 1's mission is to move downwards. It doesn't matter that we happened to be along this wall. All we care about is that state 1 can move downwards. Even right here, we'd like state 1 to move downwards, even though it's not touching the wall. So we had to change these western walls to stars, because we don't care what's to our left. Now, if we reset and we run it, we should get some good results. So let's see. Here it's in state 1 going down, state 2 going up. Every time it's in state 1, it moves down and then goes to the right. Every time it's in state 2, it moves up and goes to the right. And so with these 7 lines of code, of rules, we were able to instruct the Picobot from any starting position to color the entire board gray. And even our rules are even easy to follow because we've put these comments in describing what they do. So this is a very complete solution. It does the task that's required to, and it's easy enough to read. So that's the sort of thing that you would be expected to do for some of these other maps. Although to be perfectly honest, these maps are significantly harder. I'd say this one is probably your best bet to start after you get this map on your own. I would move on to this diamond-shaped map next because it's semi-reasonable compared to these other ones. These other ones are significantly more challenging. So my recommendation is that you get your Picobot to cover this map using the same strategy that we developed in this video. And then once you have done that, move on to this map. Thank you for watching and good luck.